How's it going, folks? Just want to check my tie out 1 second. I don't wear ties too often, but of course, I'm in the classroom, so as professional as I need to be. It's hard to believe that I only have about a week left until I get my 4th master's degree in special ed, and I'm pretty excited about that. One of the things that I'm learning in this journey of personal development, that as we take the dual roles of teacher and student, that at all times, the key point to success in this whole journey is to remain humble. And for that, I want to thank you guys for giving me the consideration of actually watching this video today. Now, I'm going to go into something that I've talked about time and time again, but more importantly, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with how you approach people, and once you approach people, how not to throw up on them with your business opportunity, your products or services. How's that sound? All right, now, check this out. 3 questions you must answer before you, really 3 questions you must ask after you build rapport. And remember, we talked about building rapport within 90 seconds because you have a very small window of opportunity in which you can present, what your intentions are. And so if you're not clear on your vision and you're not clear as to knowing who you are and what your strengths are, then maybe this will help you out. Before you pitch, present, or share your opportunity. Now remember, at all times, people are going to always ask you within that small window of opportunity, what is it that you do? Okay? And you must be clear. And if there's nothing in what we call in this industry about helping others, as cliche as that sounds, you must understand that it's important because people don't care if you're self-serving. They don't care what your accomplishments are. They don't care if you inflate yourself, but get a testimony from somebody else. And I guarantee you deem yourself more credible as an expert in your field. Okay? Now, the second thing is, how do you do it? The process has to encompass, or it has to be flexible enough to fit within a person's current lifestyle. All right? You can do, the great thing about network marketing and marketing online in general is the fact that you can start off part-time. Jim Rohn tells this story all the time about his mentor that that told him that he can start this opportunity part-time. And that's what you need to tell people, and you need to be clear within your message and letting people know, because it makes no sense, pun intended, it makes no sense to chain yourself from one job to being a slave to your dream. Because, we're in this thing for time and mobility freedom. People say they're in it for the money, but the money is the tool to help you live your life the way you want to on your terms. Now, the last question I want you to talk about, and I want you to make sure that you're able to answer before you go into your spiel, is, how can I also be successful? Now, this is the one time in which, let's say, for instance, somebody comes up to you and you build a rapport with them and you let them know what you do. Okay? After that, now they're asking questions as to how do they do it? What is it that you do? And once you're getting people to engage in the actual meaningful questions in which you can answer, now you have what you may possibly have as a potential prospect that you can follow up with. And, you hear sometimes that people always say, always be in a hurry. But why? Because if you're anxious or you have anxiety issues of that nature, it'll reflect in the way you present yourself. And people follow behind leaders who are calm and who are cool in the face of adversity or challenges. Okay, you may run up to a couple, and you may be excited because they want to know more about what you do, but in your haste, you did not even find out whether or not they had the financial means in order to invest into your opportunity, or if they were mentally there. Positive mental attitude is very key in order to succeeding in this business. Now, this is the one question that I would pretty much say that that's the time that you would probably respond to with I don't know. I don't know what you can do. I don't know what your potential is. I don't know how clear your vision is. And I say this from experience because I would get people to call me up about my opportunity or say, well, give me more information. And I say, oh, great. We have this comp plan. We do a binary system. We pay out 30% and it's awesome. And we pay out 100% and it's the greatest thing since, Jesus Christ Superstar the musical or, whatever the case may be. And what we fail to realize is that we're not talking to the program. We're not talking to websites. We're not talking to like we would think on social media. We're not talking to the computer or the technology. We're still developing relationships with people. Even though you're not face to face with people, you do have you do have an even smaller opportunity in which to generate your positioning by being clear and showing people that in spite of this world of instant gratification, this is a process. This is a process that you must nurture if you want to survive this long term. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people who might be just in it for the wave. That's fine, But I believe your dreams deserve more than that. So let me say this in closing. As you frame, and let me tell you this straight. Within the training of your primary business, what you got to understand is that you have to make this thing personable to you. It has to radiate. It has to radiate and reflect your personality. If not, otherwise, you and the other 100,000 distributors or representatives of that company will sound like a bunch of parrots. And this is where it looks like it's spam or harassment, or it looks like you people are too desperate in order to establish a person's wants, needs, and desires. All right. Let me go back through this with you in review. And what I would encourage you guys to do is look at some of my other videos in which I touch on some of these questions in different ways. Look at some of the exercises that I do. I talk about different strategies. But key thing is, in developing interpersonal relationships, be yourself and have fun. Now, again, what is it that you do? For instance, as an English teacher, I help people develop the necessary literacy tools, which means they're speaking, reading, writing, and listening in ways that will improve their academic potential in order for them to graduate high school. I do this through a series of lesson plans by developing a curriculum based off of the Curriculum Management app or the CMAP through the county. See how that says? I can do this because I'm credible, because I'm licensed and I've passed the praxis, or which is known as the National Teachers Exam, in not only middle school language arts, but high school English, as well as special education. I have 4 master's degrees, and I'm going to continuously learn through my own personal development. Something like that. It doesn't have to be too wordy, but make it a part of you, okay? If it's engaging enough, what will happen is people will say, hey, tell me more about it. Well, how do you do that? Because that's a natural response. Simple. What I do, I come in, I give children a warm-up, give them about 10 minutes to do a critical thinking exercises on something which is related to the topic at hand. Say right now we're talking about a raisin in the sun. In 1950 Chicago, and comparing that to 2013 North Carolina, and the social and economic standards that are going on today, okay? We even talk about things such as the Obamacare plan and other things that are relevant to where people can continuously ask questions. The reason being is because if you break down the word question, and this is what your only purpose should be, is to, in leading your prospects to the next step in your sales process, a question is this. A quest simply means a journey or an adventure, whereas the TION, the shun part, means to take the nature of. So when people take the action of going on an adventure, then of course you're one step closer to being successful. All right. Last but not least, let me just get into this before I close out. How can I also be successful? That's the one thing you probably cannot determine because you don't know their level of motivation, their drive, their skill set. This is a business, folks. Please do not get into the habit of telling people, or get out of the habit if you're doing it now, of telling people that this is so easy that you can make $100,000 in 90 days. We know that's not true. We know that it took longer than that. It's like when I tell people all the time, when we just moved into this house last month, and people say, oh man, it happened pretty quickly, about 90 days. I say, no, that was 15 years in the making. I had to learn to respect money as a tool in order for me to open up my resources, in order to know where and track where my money was going at all times, and to make better decisions with that. And that's what you have to still convey to your people. Because if they're knee deep or waist deep in debt, it's going to be a little bit harder, or their success level is going to be a little bit longer than somebody who is debt free already. If somebody is already a master salesperson, that's going to be different from somebody, their outcomes and their successes are going to be different from somebody who is simply an introvert, who simply wants to change and become better. Get what I'm saying? This is Philip Lyde. Look, I don't want to insult your intelligence or beat a dead horse on issues that I'm sure your sponsor, your upline is telling you. But if you do not frame your presentation in a way that answers these 3 questions, you're leaving money on the table. With that being said, this is Philip Lyde, the Prosperous Rhinoceros, one half of Team Lyde. Live your dreams every day. Peace.